Samsung is a trading powerhouse that's best known for its TVs, mobile phones, and other smart devices. But did you know they also deal with everything from construction and shipbuilding to fashion, healthcare services, hospitality, security solutions, life insurance, and even operating theme parks? In total, the Samsung manufacturing giant consists of around 80 different businesses, and in 2013, the company's revenue solely contributed 17% of South Korea's trillion-dollar GDP. Not bad for a company that started out trading dried fish and locally sourced noodles. Even during the devastating aftermath of the Korean War, it was Samsung that helped kickstart the Korean economy, which is now known as the Miracle on the Han River. The man that made this miracle happen, the guy who founded Samsung, is Lee Byung-chul, and this is his story. Lee Byung-chul was born to father Lee Chan-woo and mother Kwon Jae-lim on the 12th of February 1910. Lee was the youngest of 4 siblings and was fortunate to have been born into a wealthy family that belonged to the Yangban, the traditional ruling class during Korea's Joseon dynasty. Despite growing up in the South Gyeongsang province, Lee attended high school in the capital city of Seoul before attending college in Japan at Waseda University in Tokyo, though he never completed his studies there.
What is he, 19?
18. He dropped out this year.
By the age of 28, Byung-chul had moved to Daegu City in Korea, and in March of 1938, he established a trucking business using the princely sum of 30,000 won, which in today's money is equivalent to about $25 US. He named his company Samsung Trading Company, based on the Korean Hanja word Samsung, meaning 3 stars. Incidentally, the 3 stars were represented early in Samsung logos up until 1993, but are rarely seen in modern Samsung advertising. In Korean, the word used for 3 represents something big, numerous, and powerful, while stars refer to something that is everlasting or eternal. In the case of Samsung, these descriptions certainly seem to be accurate so far.
What is it about Samsung?
The trading company, established in 1938, began with 40 employees and exported goods such as fish, vegetables, and noodles that had been produced in and around the city of Daegu. This proved to be a successful business venture, and over the next 30 years, Samsung's dealings gradually expanded and diversified into food processing, textiles, insurance, securities, and retail. By 1945, Samsung had begun transporting goods not only throughout Korea but to other countries around the world. Byung-chul moved the company's headquarters to Seoul in 1947 and partnered with Cho Hong-jae, the founder of another industrial conglomerate called Hyungsung Group. Together, the 2 businessmen invested jointly in a new company called Samsung Trading Corporation, a firm that would grow to become the present-day Samsung C&T Corporation, a construction and engineering company. However, Cho and Lee's partnership did not last long, as after only a few years, they separated due to disagreements in management styles.
Do you think that my management style is too careful?
Still, when the Korean War broke out in 1950, Samsung was already one of the 10 largest trading companies in the country. Operations were severely disrupted when North Korean troops captured the city of Seoul, forcing Lee Byung-chul to move his company out of the capital. He relocated to Busan, where he started a sugar refinery named Cheil-jae-dong. One silver lining to the war was that a massive influx of troops from America provided new customers and foreign equipment that was a great benefit to Lee's trading company.
This is the U.S. Army, darling.
A year after the war ended, Lee founded a textile firm in 1954 and built South Korea's largest woolen mill in the vicinity of Chimseong-dong in Daegu. With the passion for expansion still burning bright, Samsung entered the electronics market during the late 1960s. Then, in the mid-70s, they opened up construction and shipbuilding companies. These business pursuits would propel Lee Byung-chul and therefore Samsung to be among the top economic powerhouses in the world. However, it wasn't all plain sailing for the entrepreneur during this time. Following a military coup on May 16, 1961, Lee found himself stranded in Japan while waiting for a deal to be struck with the coup's leader, Park Chung-hee. Eventually, an agreement was made whereby Byung-chul would return to South Korea, but his company, Samsung, would give up control of the banks it had acquired and would follow economic directives from Pak's government. Simply put, Lee Byung-chul would have no free rein to do business dealings as he pleased.
This is a disaster. Calm down, man.
However, that same year, the father of Samsung did establish the Federation of Korean Industries, a major economic organization that brings together more than 600 members from industries and companies based in Korea. 4 years later, in 1965, he also founded the Samsung Culture Foundation, a foundation aimed at promoting a broad range of programs to enrich Korean cultural life. Towards the end of the decade, Samsung Group started its successful foray into the electronics industry. Several electronics-related divisions were set up, including a facility in Suwon that produced Samsung's first electrical product, a black and white television set. Carrying on into the 1970s, Samsung continued to produce TVs, but would expand its product range to include color TVs, refrigerators, electric desk calculators, and air conditioners. In 1978, the company reached a major milestone by producing TV set number 5 million.
You got a TV, don't you?
It was also during the 70s that Samsung began shipbuilding, in addition to working with petrochemicals and aircraft engines. As with most of its ventures, these proved to be successful as well. By 1974, Samsung Heavy Industries was one of the largest shipbuilders in the world. Telecommunications was the new money train during the 1980s, and Samsung got on board. First by making switchboards before producing other telecoms hardware and opening up a facility to manufacture mobile phones. Production of Samsung mobiles has increased dramatically ever since, to the point where in 2021, Samsung produced around 300 million of them in a single year.
Remember when all those Samsung phones caught on fire?
It's no wonder that later in his years, Lee Byung-chul had become known as the richest man in Korea. He continued to serve as a chairman of the Federation of Korean Industries that he founded, and in 1982, Lee was awarded an honorary doctorate from Boston College. Samsung Electronics began to invest heavily in research and development during the 1980s and made smart investments that firmly established Samsung as a frontrunner in the global electronics industry. In 1982, Samsung built a television assembly plant in Portugal. This was followed by another plant opening in New York in 1984, one in Tokyo in 1985, a facility in England in 1987, and overseas expansion that has been going on ever since. Sadly, for the family of Lee Byung-chul, 1987 was also the year that the then 77-year-old passed away.
That was a sad day.
He is fondly remembered by many as one of South Korea's most successful businessmen and a pioneer of modern entrepreneurship, who was a beacon of national economic development. Byung-chul's estate of Hoam was open to the public following his passing, and people who attended were able to view the businessman's impressive collection of Korean art. It is considered to be one of the largest private collections in the country, and featured several art pieces that have since been designated national treasures by the Korean government. During his life, he married twice and had 4 sons in addition to 6 daughters. Many of his children would go on to manage Samsung affiliations or start businesses of their own.
The boys are doing great, and I'm very, very proud of them.
Following Lee's passing, Samsung was separated into 5 business groups, namely Samsung Group, Shinsegae Group, CJ Group, Hansol Group, and Jungong Group. Notable Samsung industrial affiliates that still operate today include Samsung Electronics, the world's largest information technology company as of 2017, Samsung Heavy Industries, the world's second largest shipbuilder in 2010, Samsung Engineering, and Samsung C&T Corporation, the world's 13th and 36th largest construction companies respectively. Other lesser-known subsidiaries include Samsung Life Insurance, the world's 14th largest life insurance company, Samsung Everland, operator of Everland Resort, the oldest theme park in South Korea, and Cheil Worldwide, the world's 15th largest advertising agency as of 2012.
Advertising agency, one of the biggest in the world.
Samsung continues to have a massive influence in Korean politics and economics to this day. In fact, too much influence according to some observers. A Washington Post article in 2012 referred to South Korea as the Republic of Samsung, and presidential candidate Lee Jong-hee once said in a debate, "Samsung has the government in its hands. Samsung manages the legal world, the press, the academics, and bureaucracy."
Actually getting a little bit dangerous.
Some critics claim that Samsung has grown so big that it has knocked out smaller businesses, limiting choices for South Korean consumers. Is it possible for a company to grow too big? What do you think? Well, it's very possible you are watching this video on a Samsung smartphone. Let us know in the comments. If you found this video entertaining or learned something new, please leave a like and tell us what you'd like to see next. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on our next inspiring video. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.